welcome to Alternate Green. Welcome to MELfeed.video. We are commencing a live web stream service via youtube.com from Echuca, Australia. We currently conduct these streams on Monday evenings, with other times to be added as more opportunities arise. Please visit our website MELfeed.video for further information. This web video project presents old and new community TV programs. Please enjoy your stay with MELfeed.video.
This repeat episode of NAT Chat Migration Stories is presented as a tribute to its host, Richard McAuliffe, who sadly passed away this last year.
Welcome to Migration Stories, a special edition of NAT Chat produced by Northern Access TV for Channel 31. And today my guest is Quashani Bard. Hello Quashani.
Thank you for having me, Richard.
Thank you so much for coming in to Channel 31. Now with Migration Stories we want to learn about Australians who've migrated here. And you've come from Zimbabwe.
Yes, I have.
Well, thank you for that. And making us a richer country.
It's good to be here. It's been both a pleasure and a blessing being here, yes.
Interesting, because the circumstances of you migrating, what perhaps was the first time you heard that you were going to migrate to Australia, or was it just leaving Zimbabwe that your family talked about?
Okay. After I'd done the Year 12 equivalent, my parents were like, well, you know, where do you want to go for university? So I had choice. South Africa was on the list, so was America and the UK, and then there was Australia. Now, the process of elimination was, Mum wasn't happy with me going to South Africa. Dad wanted me in South Africa because that was going to be close to home and he could visit and drop in whenever he liked, as dads do. And I felt like everybody goes to America. I mean, it's on TV. I didn't think it was going to be something new. And the UK was too cold.
Yes, it definitely is, isn't it?
Yeah, and I thought, Australia, the land down under.
What impressions did you have of Australia at that stage? I mean, maybe TV shows or anything else?
Yes, there was TV shows growing up. We had a lot of Australian TV programs.
Series and such?
Yeah, series like Round the Twist. Yeah, that was a big one. Skippy the Bush Kangaroo was one.
You get to see the bush side that way.
Yeah, so we got to see the bush side. Flying Doctors was another. So there was a bit of exposure there. And I remember at home, Dad had like a wall hanging and it had like a map of Australia. And I remember seeing Adelaide and going, oh, that's such a pretty name for a city.
These are the things that impress us anyway.
Yeah,
Get your interest going.
Yeah, so, you know, that was how I came to that decision to come.
Was there not a good university in Zimbabwe, or?
Oh, there was. There was the University of Zimbabwe. But, you know, I was privileged enough to have parents that could afford to send me away.
Yes.
So that's how I came to being here.
Yeah. So you have the extra of studying in another country and in fact migrating here.
Yes, and growing up, my parents, especially my father, was huge on education. You know, my dad always used to say, the one thing that no man can take from you is an education. You know, they can take your car away, they can take your wife, they can take your property, but an education is up here and you have that for life.
Brilliant.
So yeah, my parents always pushed for a good education.
And how large was your family in Zimbabwe?
I have 3 younger sisters, so I'm the first of 4 girls.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And they're still there, or do you think of them coming here, or?
They all came over, so I came to study in 2001 and I was here for about 3.5 years, and then when I finished, Mum came, and Mum moved to country Victoria because she got some work there, and then Dad and my sisters came, and then they've been here
How
ever
wonderful.
since. Yeah,
You've got everyone here now.
Yes, yes.
How excellent. Now, which
great.
city or town or were you living in Zimbabwe?
Harare. I was born in Harare.
The capital city.
Yeah.
What's that like? Is that really like a metropolis? Does it have shanty towns around the outside, or how would you compare it to another town that maybe our viewers have know something about?
It's an interesting question. I mean, growing up, and even like in the textbooks when we did geography, we were always told there's like low density areas and there's high density areas.
Yes.
So the low density were less populated, and they happen to be closer to the CBD. And as you go out of the city, it's more high density. I guess maybe that would be a way
Yes, that's a very excellent description.
Yeah, of
Thank
describing
you,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine what it would be like. And there would be centres outside of Harare as well that are active in certain different industries, would there? Or?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, amongst all that low and high, you've got the industrial areas,
yes,
which for some reason are always closer to the high density areas.
Yes.
I think that's because of, more population, more people for work and stuff. Yeah.
So how long ago was that you did migrate yourself?
2001.
Okay,
June.
so a dozen years ago.
Yeah.
And well, much has changed, I suppose, since you've come here. And
yeah.
do you stay in contact with family there a little bit? And do you have an interest in Zimbabwe?
Always in my
Yes,
heart,
of course.
It's the motherland. It's where I'm from. You never forget. A tree never forgets its roots. So yes, I call Melbourne home, and Melbourne has been very welcoming, but Harare will always be my hometown.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I try to keep in touch with people at home, grandparents.
And a few good buddies and a few family.
Yeah,
well, that's
a few
excellent
family,
because
yeah.
the whole world comes to us here in Australia.
Yeah.
In the next segment, we'll find out what Koshani is up to in Melbourne.
Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Daddy's gonna sing you a lullaby. When you're sleeping safe and sound, you've got the proudest dad in town. I remember when I first saw you, your heart beating as you grew. We'll read you stories to help you dream. Your mommy and I are a perfect team. I can't wait to hear you sing or watch as you put on a wedding ring. One day you'll have children too. Remember the times I sang to you.
Hey guys, what'd you like?
Coffee, thanks.
2 coffees, please. What kind of coffee would he like?
Cappuccino.
Cappuccino. What can I get for you?
I'll have a coffee, thanks.
Yeah, 2 coffees, please. Awesome. And what kind of coffee would you like?
Cappuccino, thanks.
2 cappuccinos.
Autism. Change your reactions, change your actions.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Welcome back to NAT Chat, our special edition, Migration Stories, and today migrated from Zimbabwe about a dozen years ago, Kwashani. And what are you up to in Melbourne these days?
What am I up to in Melbourne?
Well, you've graduated.
Yes, I long since graduated. It's another...
What was your qualification? What was your area that you went for?
Yes, I studied at Deakin and I did a Bachelor's of Commerce.
Wow.
I majored in financial planning and marketing, and then I did my honours in advertising.
Honours?
Yeah.
Wow, that's better than me and everyone here. And you got some work in that area?
Yes, I worked in advertising for a couple of years and then financial administration. Yeah.
Well, it's a very good skill to have. You can transfer to very many areas, and promotion and things like that.
Yes.
And what extracurricular activities do you enjoy? Other things that you do other than your work and study?
Other things that I do, well...
You've got a fashion sense, I
yes,
can see.
Yes, there is a fashion sense. So I'm a singer-songwriter. I've coined a little something I call reg glue. So it's like reggae and blues. With a touch of soul on an acoustic tip and sometimes on a dancehall tip.
Music style with those elements all mixed in.
Yes.
Well, our viewers will be very curious to hear about it. So what's your performing group, or what's your name of your performing troupe?
Well, solo, it's Kwashani Bard. That is what I use for the music. And for the fashion stuff, it's House of Boho Chic. So I make signature style ear discs using Afro batik materials or felt, like the one that I'm wearing now.
Wow.
With
so
feathers.
You've made that,
yes, yeah.
that earring, yes?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And the insides are recycled material, so I'm also, doing my bit for the environment.
Okay.
Hand-painted zebra signature style dresses, tassels, hoops, the work.
And are there organisations involved in, helping you market that, or is it kind of like you go to a market or something?
I've done markets and I've done something called Raw, which was a fantastic opportunity. So it's all these different artists come under the one roof and they showcase their art. So we're talking singers, songwriters, performers like dance, makeup artists, hair, photographers,
Raw,
and accessories
a group
designer.
called Raw, did you say?
Yeah, an organisation called Raw.
What do they do?
They get all these different talents under the one roof and they help them showcase their art form. Yeah, so I did that in September.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And where are they located? What suburb? Or they're everywhere, are they?
Well, it originally started in America and they've brought the idea here. And the one they had in September was the first one in Melbourne, but the first one officially in Australia was Brisbane.
So you're thriving with them helping and all those groups together.
Yeah. But a solo artist can never get too much help.
So the singing as well as the fashion.
Yeah.
Any success so far? I mean, have you won any contests or?
Successes, it's been a pretty interesting year. I entered into something called Africa's Got Talent earlier this year that ran in May. So it was on the 25th of May and it was part of the Melbourne Africa Day festivities, which stretched across a week.
So we have Africa's Got Talent here in Melbourne.
Yes, Africa's Got Talent in Melbourne, because there is talent from Africa in Melbourne.
Okay, great.
So that was a fantastic opportunity. I had the pleasure of being one of 10 finalists that got to sing. And they had 4 judges on the panel, Denny Hines, Simon Rayner, Blair Stafford, and Chris from Northside Records.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a thrill.
Very substantial movers and shakers of the music industry.
Yes.
So you did well in that?
Yes, I did well in that.
And I guess what's happening with your home life and your day-to-day activities and networking and getting into community? what's happening there in your life here in Melbourne. Is it a welcoming place for your spread of activities in Melbourne?
Oh, wow. It's been such a blessing, Richard. I've had such really good opportunities as we speak. My creations are at the Frankston Arts Centre. So yeah, you know, that's yet another great opportunity spanning from the 11th of November to the 11th of January, so people that cruise through can check out the art and can buy stuff. Because one of the things that the Boho Chic is known for is fascinators, so I make fascinators.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so there's that opportunity.
I'm sure we'll see you at the Melbourne Cup, or at least the fascinators there.
Isn't that the dream? Isn't that the dream?
It's our dream.
Yeah.
What else do you like about Australia? I mean, something along the lines of, is it the beaches or is it the bush? And you know, you mentioned your mother lives in regional Victoria.
Well, she used to.
What's the natural side of things that you like here?
The natural side of things, you know, I love the idea of the beach. I don't get down there much. But what I really like about Melbourne is the fact that it's such a melting cultural pot.
Okay.
And a lot of inspiration comes from that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's one of the things I
We're
love
very
about
lucky
Melbourne.
with our centres, and Footscray and you know, the Thornbury Northcote areas and the St Kilda areas, and it's spreading right throughout.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come back for another segment and maybe look into the future and what you can help us with in this country, some ideas, fresh ideas that you might have brought to us.
Okay.
Please come back soon.
Hold it right there. Have you done your pool safety check? Maintain the barriers, check the gate, and never leave anything that can be climbed on near the fence. Have you brushed up on your CPR skills? And don't tempt kids with toys. Tidy up.
Is that all?
When kids are around the pool, keep watch. They need your attention all the time. Okay, in we go.
Download your free home pool safety checklist and help Royal Lifesaving make this weekend your home pool safety weekend.
I got my big break about 5 years ago.
My big break came 10 years ago.
I got my break about 8 years ago.
If you're over 50 and have recently had a bone fracture from a minor bump or fall, you may have osteoporosis.
If you've had one break from osteoporosis, there's a good chance you'll have another.
Find out more, talk to your doctor, or call Osteoporosis Australia today.
Don't wait for your next big break.
Hello, I'm here to let you know that Inline Plus will return from late May on Community TV and here on YouTube and Facebook. We will start off with 4 episodes shot in Adelaide, and then we will move on to some programs from Sydney and Melbourne. If you would like to get involved in our Sydney or Melbourne shoots, please get in touch with us now. For further information on the show, please visit inlineplus.net. Until then, we look forward to seeing you then, and bye for now.
Welcome back. I'm here with Kwashani Bard, who's migrated here from Zimbabwe. So, what do you think Australia should do? What's the future that you see for Australia?
Wow.
What's our position in the world? What should we do?
What's the future? I guess I'd just narrow it down to just the music scene, really. We've got so much talent here in Melbourne. It'd be great if we could be getting more of that out, you know?
Indeed, around the world,
Yeah,
with
around
all
the
the different
world.
styles that can be here.
Yes, and that's really going to be truly reflective of Melbourne as we know it.
So kind of showing the rest of the world what Melbourne is.
Yeah.
Through the music.
A showcase through the
Okay.
music, yeah. Yeah.
And that would be a huge potential, I suppose.
I'd say it'd be a huge potential and a great opportunity, not only for the artists, but even for, you know, from a tourism perspective for Melbourne as a city.
People always say Australia and Melbourne so far away, but it could be well worth coming then, hey?
It would be.
And any room for any more festivals, do you think, in this great country?
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon we need more, you know, reggae dance hall festivals.
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't know that we have any now, that we don't have Ragamuffin.
No.
Yeah.
No, there isn't really a current big festival. There is the Blues Festival in Byron Bay Blues Festival.
Yeah.
And there's the Queenscliff Festival, which you could also call a Roots Festival. So many Roots festivals, but not enough reggae.
Yeah, not enough reggae. We need more of that reggae.
Maybe up in Cairns, I think Trop Fest. It's got
yeah.
a fair amount of reggae in it.
Cool. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one.
And so how is it you've become such a fan of reggae in Zimbabwe? Is it also a rich music scene in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I'm very passionate about reggae, but I'm passionate about music in general. So growing up, you know, my dad had lots of music. I'm talking, you know, we go all the way from, trying to pull some names, Deep Purple, ZZ Top, Jimi Hendrix. He had Bob Marley in there. Just the Commodores. There was lots of music. But I guess we could say I fell in love with reggae when I was 15. I went to boarding school, and every Friday last Friday of the month rather, they had a dance. So we'd go and we'd listen to reggae and dance hall, and that was the one day of the month that you knew you were really going to have like a really good time, you know.
Oh, I see.
And that's how I came into reggae and dance hall, and since then I've just been, yeah.
So it's a kind of music that comes with a culture as well, and you know, culture of dancing and sort of a soft feel to the, sort of a gentle feel at those clubs, hey?
Yes.
You can stand in the corner in the dark, or you can get up and dance. Is that what appealed to you so much, hey?
Yeah, well, the rhythm of it, you know, reggae is very sort of slow, sort of tip, and then dancehall is more upbeat. And I'm really into the dancing.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And you're doing toasting as well? Or?
Yes, I'm doing some toasting too. I perform around, you know, Melbourne clubs. I've worked with such, you know, selectors as Jessie I, who runs the Babylon Burning radio show.
A legendary
PBS.
show on
Yes, legendary. So
sister radio station 3PBS.
Yes, yes, that's right. So he has a night called More Fire under his banner Chant Down Sound, and I've performed at that. He also does dance hall.
When is that on? Did you say Friday? Is it a regular thing?
More Fire is second Saturday of every month.
We need to know this.
At the Meerkat Cross Hotel.
Okay.
Yes.
Near the market.
Yes, near the market. And other selectors, you know, like Sister Itations, who does Pressure Drop at the Laundry.
Okay.
And that's second Saturdays. second month rather, so it's once every 2 months that she does that.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing a lot of that sound system stuff, but every now and then I like to break it up because I also do like acoustic stuff. So I've performed at, you know, such events as Sisters for Sisters at the Toff in Town.
Oh, really? I remember that day. I went to that show. It was last year, yes?
Yes, yes. Well, they've had like 7 episodes since it started.
So much women talent there.
Yes, yes. So yeah, that started up in 2011, and that's just been rolling on since.
So it's a rich environment for your music career.
Yes, yes.
And what about travelling markets with the jewellery and the fashion?
I've done a few markets. I guess I'm still kind of warming up to the markets, but mostly I just sell online. So I've got an online space there, and you know, your typical Facebook page. And these days, it's all sort of connected. So I've got a shopping cart on my Facebook page.
Oh wow!
That links to the store. So
it's very technical.
Yeah,
very advanced.
Yeah, yeah. So
well, congratulations on all of that.
Thank you, Richard.
Now, what's a kind of a family? You're all living in the same area, or you've now spread around a bit, hey?
No, I live in Kensington and my parents live on the other side of town.
So what happens? Is there a regular sort of reunion? I remember when my background's Maltese, we came from Europe and we used to have family reunions on the beach. Is there anything like that happening in your family?
Oh yeah, we love our food.
Okay.
So typically if we've got like a birthday or something, we all just kind of go to mum's house or my sister's house and everybody brings a dish. So, you know, for instance, you know, maybe dad's doing the rice and I'm doing the meat, mum's doing the salads, my other sister's doing the vegetables, and my other sister's doing the cocktail. Okay. So by the end of the session, it's like you've had a bit of everything and everybody's had a hand in everything, and it's really special times.
Yes.
We just don't get to do it enough.
So it's not a regular, but it's occasional?
We try to do it at least once a month.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Has the dishes developed a little bit, being, you know, any Australian influence or?
Yeah. It's very contemporary.
Okay.
Kind of a fusion.
Oh.
Because, you know, when I think traditional food as I know it, the staple in Zimbabwe is sadza, which is maize meal.
Oh, okay.
Very similar to your polenta. And we eat that as a very sort of thick porridge.
Yes.
And we eat that with vegetables and like leafy greens and meat. But that's traditional. So contemporary could be, you know, using other non-sort of traditional spices and herbs in there.
Throw in a bit of Australian steak or something.
Yeah, jazz it up.
Well, Koshani, thank you very much for coming to Northern Access TV studios.
Thank you so much for
today's
having me.
edition of Migration Story. It's been wonderful finding out about your story.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, kind viewers. Please tune in again next week.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Alleluia. Om Mani Padme. Om. Allah.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Reverend J. Robinson. She's a minister of the Uniting Church, and she works a lot with young people and is a chaplain at Monash University. Thanks for coming in, Jay.
Pleasure, Norm.
as we always do, the first part of this program is to look at spiritual background.
Mm-hmm.
What were you born as?
What was I born as? A little baby? No. I was put into a Presbyterian church.
Right.
And I say put in because my brothers and sisters and I were sent around the corner by mum and dad because it was nice and easy walking distance to Sunday school. So they'd send us off and they'd stay home. So that was, Presbyterian was what I began knowing and learning about. I also went to the Methodist Ladies College.
Right.
So there was some Methodists in there as well, which is probably all very good background for a uniting church person.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's where I started. And it took me, I'd say it took me quite some time to find what I would call a spiritual path. And probably even then I wouldn't call it a spiritual path. It was just the way I was going.
Yeah.
I got to, would have been year 9 these days, and I was invited to go to a girlfriend's church, Baptist church, and be part of their girls' brigade.
Okay.
And one of the things you had to do to earn points for your team was to go to Sunday school. And at that stage, I was way too old to go to Sunday school. So I started going to our local Methodist church out in Glen Waverley and got involved that way. Started taking up leadership roles, involved with the junior choir, then with a singing group. Did some musicals there, directed some musicals there, all sorts of things. Yeah.
What led you to, here we go, led you to leadership?
Yeah.
How did that arise?
I think I was willing to step up.
Okay.
I think that was probably it. Any church these days, and even a few years ago, are looking for young people to step up. Most of the churches in them, the ones who've been there for the longest are getting old and have heaps of experience but can't always do things. And people like to make space for younger leaders. So there was a minister there that was willing to give me an opportunity, and I stepped up and took it.
To be a leader, there needs to be some little things happening. Were you outgoing? What made you, or did you have a strong belief that you really wanted to share it with people? Or?
I think I like to be involved and I like to work with people.
Right.
The minister we had at Glen Waverley was someone who would sit alongside you and help you do things. He'd always challenge, but challenge within your capabilities, even if you didn't know you had them at that stage.
Good. Yep.
And so that leadership would have begun with little things like being part of the youth group, helping with Sunday school. Eventually I would do some, I was at MLC, I came out with a secretarial course, a certificate. So I would do some office work, and with my music background be very much into let's look at new songs and what can we find. So all of those little ways.
Yeah. And so you say that there was no sort of particular direction, you just happened to be going there in that way. But you also went in another way, didn't you? As far as with twinkle toes and stuff like that?
Well, yes. After my husband and I moved out for a little while, got our own place once we got married, and then came back to Glen Waverley eventually because we couldn't afford to buy anywhere else. One of the things we had always said, because when we were going out, we'd go to the church dances.
Yes.
And we wanted to learn how to dance properly. And so we would say, we will learn after we get married. So we did. We went into local dance studio, had some special offers, so we went there, and from there went into medal work, competitions, and danced together for about 10, 12 years, and were Australasian and South Pacific ballroom champions, competed overseas, and probably placed somewhere in the top 10 amateurs in Victoria. Had a ball. Hard work though.
It would be hard work, and the next question is probably going to be hard to answer. Was there a spiritual component in dancing? Did you find that it reached some level within you?
Good question.
I warned you.
I love performing,
yes.
which maybe helps with some of the background in here. And I would love performing and doing the dancing and feeling the music through that.
Yes.
And I think we connect spiritually in all levels, and music is one way you can do that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather dance than rehearse.
Yes, yes.
And that was good.
You touch an interesting point there, because you also did singing, didn't you?
Yes.
So that's
yeah.
So that perhaps says something about your personality in being able to communicate at that sort of a level.
I think for me, music and creative things are a great way for me to connect with other people, or open spaces that people can connect through. So that creative background is very useful, always, yeah.
And do you use that creative background in your current ministry? Is it something that comes forward?
Yes.
It does?
Yes, I've done some liturgical dance. I've trained liturgical dancers. I'm very particular about choosing music for worship. Not only the right feel, but the right words. And that talks of where I sit with my theology. And also giving people, as I said, opportunities to connect.
Yeah, and opportunities to count 1 and 2 and 3. And we're out of time.
Yep.
We'll be back.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment.
We always liked to play chess together ever since we were little. He was always a better player than me. When I was diagnosed with Pompei's disease in 2002, I was told that my life expectancy was going to be poor, and my condition deteriorated rapidly before I was able to start treatment. My brother and I both suffered from the disease. But now I consider myself the fortunate one. My brother spent the last 2 years of his life in hospital. He didn't have access to this wonderful treatment that should be available to everybody. The world just keeps getting smaller as you progressively lose the ability to walk. So your world shrinks, and then gradually you realise, I haven't been to the supermarket in 6 months. I'm 59 now, and every year I can see my daughter grow up is a blessing. I believe my treatment's made this possible.
To learn more and help those living with Pompei's disease, register at australianpompeii.com.
The thing I love about Australia is our spirit of mateship and togetherness, and whether it's a drought, a flood or a bushfire, when times are tough, Australians stick together. Well, I'll be spending Australia Day at Tamworth with 40,000 country music mates. It brings people together to celebrate our music and our great country.
Get together on Australia Day. Go to australiaday.org.au to find out how.
Here is some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading a newspaper or phone bill, or writing letters and emails. It can be easier to improve your reading and writing skills than to keep putting it off. Take the plunge. Call the Reading Writing Hotline, 1300 655 06.
1300 655 06.
It could change your life.
Joy, well-being, community, inclusion.
Special Olympics is a global movement for people with an intellectual disability, creating a world of inclusion and community through sport, where every person is accepted and welcomed, regardless of ability. One athlete, one volunteer, one family member at a time, helping to make the world a better place. Join the inclusion revolution by supporting Special Olympics.
And choose to include.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Reverend J. Robinson, who's a minister of the Uniting Church. Jay, we were just talking about dancing, but we'll get off that now.
Okay.
I believe that when you were sort of in the process of formation to become a minister, you went through a lot of steps. What did they look like?
Well, it started really, I was getting more involved in leadership, lay leadership, so not actually being part of the church, but elders and things like that. And our youth minister left, and we had trouble finding another one. I was also at that time working part-time and then full-time for World Vision, helping them or run their volunteer program. And I remember driving home at various stages and having this voice in my head saying, you must apply for this position. And I had various discussions and arguments with that voice in my head saying I could not possibly apply for it. I had no qualifications. I had no time. It was my own church, and that's not what I'm there for.
No.
But that voice wouldn't go away. Or that feeling, however you want. But for me, it was voice.
Yeah.
And so I decided, well, I better talk to someone about this. So I made a time to have a conversation with our minister, and the voice stopped. So I'm sitting there, am I doing the right thing? Am I not?
Yes.
But the conversations, well, one of the things that came out was, what am I passionate about?
Yes.
And I was passionate about worship, about giving space for people to connect with God. And so from that, I started a course through correspondence on worship leadership. That eventually led to me picking up some subjects in a degree of theology. And I started what the Uniting Church call a period of discernment. And that's a time when you sit with a mentor and try to work out what it is that God is asking you to do. And I remember we talked about ministry, whether it's ordained ministry or whether it's lay ministry, and I ran as far as possible away from the ordained ministry.
Right.
I liked my house. I didn't want to have to move. I had a family. I'm not that good. I'm not that intelligent or academic. I couldn't do that. And I would admit that I'd look at my minister at church and he would be great. And I'd say, I can't do that.
Yes. Yeah.
And somebody had a conversation with me and said, well, you may not be able to do that, but you can do what you do.
Yeah.
And what you do is just as important. So that was a little bit of a turning point for me. So I finally bit the bullet and said, yes, I would apply to be a candidate in the Uniting Church. So there's, as you said, a number of processes. First process or first hurdle, you need to be approved by your church. So I had the Church Council and the Elders Council meet. They don't usually do that, and there were about 65 people. And I spoke for 45 minutes or so, and then they asked me any questions they wanted for the next 45 minutes or
Good
so.
heavens.
Yes, it was rather daunting, but and some interesting questions, I think, which said more about them than it did about me, but never mind. I got through that though.
Yes.
And that was a big point, because for me the whole journey was still, I don't know whether this is where God wants me to be.
Yes.
But the journey was worth doing.
Yeah.
Because the journey made me stop and think and put into words what I was feeling. It was a hard journey because I get very emotional at times when I talk about my faith. And so there were lots of tears left, right and centre. And there were people who didn't think tears were something that a minister should have.
Right. Yeah.
But we went through that. Went on to the next level, presbytery. Again, very similar, 65 odd people in the room. You do your spiel, they can ask you anything. I got 2 questions. Yay.
Yeah, it's getting better.
It is. One on how I was enjoying my study, and the other was why I was applying to be a deacon rather than a minister of the word.
Right.
And that was a really good question. And I have to admit, at that stage, deacon was probably similar to what I was doing at World Vision by just being in contact with people And it was just that little bit lower in my mind, not in truth, but in my mind, it was just that little bit lower than a minister of the word.
Yes.
Who I still struggled to recognise myself as, I would say.
Yeah.
But anyway, presbytery, that was all fine. And then we had the synod selection, and that's the final one that you get your big tick or cross for. Big weekend.
Yes.
It was a fishbowl. There were 8, 9 of us, with probably 15 people sitting around the edges of the room while they watched us interact in the middle.
Right.
Draining weekend. Very draining.
Yes.
Very draining. But I got through that with yes, you talk passionately about being a deacon. Everything else in you says minister of the word. Go away and think about it for 12 months.
Okay.
Which at least it wasn't no.
No.
And I think that was the big thing I took out of that.
Yeah.
And I still say to that, best thing they could ever have done for me.
Right.
It was really, really good. I spent 12 months looking at Minister of the Word and admitting that, yes, that's what I am. Yeah.
So you didn't just sort of drop into it, and I think that's important to recognise that people don't just drop into ministry.
Oh, no.
And they go through a process.
Yep. And it continues all the time, all the way through my study, and that's what surprised me, was the times you're still questioned and discerning and deciding what you need to do.
Right.
So it doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't. And you've got, how do you get feedback? Like in that training process, it was clear where the feedback was coming from, but as you say, it's an ongoing process. Where does your feedback come from?
Well, in college, we had faculty advisors who would give us that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Outside of that, we all have supervisors.
Yes.
And I also have a spiritual director, which is something I swore I was never ever going to have, but now would not do without.
That's right. That's right. But of course, there's another thing which comes into this, and that's time, and we're out of it.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment.
If a man's home is his castle, his shed is his kingdom. It's a place men can hang out with a few mates, build a few things, even if you haven't before, and give back to the community. No man should be without a shed. The Australian Men's Shed Association is working to provide a shed for all Australian men, and they have over 400 already. Visit your local shed, build your community, and make a difference. Find a shed near you. It's time to give back.
Hi, I'm Lane Beachley. Australians have recycled enough printer cartridges to cover Bondi Beach 12 times. That's kept 11,000 tonnes of valuable resources out of landfill. Drop your used original cartridges into the special boxes at participating retail outlets, and they'll be turned into new products from pens to road surfaces. Help us keep up the good work. Find out more at cartridges.planetark.org.
We reckon one of the most powerful things in the world is this sausage. Because a sausage can do just about anything. It helps people to walk, see and hear, supports families after fire, drought and flood, and even helps plant trees in our community. Our sausages are working to cure cancer, helping farmers in tough times, and connecting people who are new to a community. And at the same time that they're doing all that, they're nurturing the leaders of tomorrow while building friendships that last a lifetime. Yep, these humble sausages are more powerful than you can believe. They're working wonders in our community. And at Lions, so can you. Lions Australia, we serve more than sausages.
If you choose to drink then drive,
You could ruin lives,
someone else's
your family's,
or your own,
choose not to instead.
the right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
Hallelujah.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking today with Reverend Jay Robinson, and she's a minister of the Uniting Church. Jay, earlier on in your conversation, you mentioned something about a voice, some sort of an awareness that you needed to go on this mission into ministry. Have you encountered that sort of
I've encountered it in different ways. The voice was a very clear way, but I've encountered closed doors.
Oh, okay.
Where I have been determined to go in one direction, and all of a sudden that possibility is stopped. And I've had to go another way. And I can only look at that as though that's God saying, you weren't listening to me, I'm going to shut this door and you will go through that one. I was going to be a paediatrician, absolutely.
Okay.
Except I got to, in those days, Form 5 and failed everything. So it wasn't going to work. But from there, the possibility opened up was my secretarial studies and my history, which I developed a love for. Like with my discernment, I said God was calling me to be a deacon. And he shut that door, but still left the other door open for minister of the word.
Yeah.
So there are times in that I really do believe that if I'm heading in the wrong way, God will point me in the right way. And it enhances my listening for that.
Yeah. That's the point. It's actually part of the way you live your life. It's become an integrated part
Very
of
much
that.
so, yes. Yeah.
Now, you had this interest in being a paediatrician. Now, you do quite a bit of work with youth.
I do, yes.
So is there a reflection of that?
I don't know whether it's a reflection of that. I think I probably would like to be an awful lot younger than I actually am, or I consider myself an awful lot younger than I actually am. But I also think young people need that opportunity and that support to step up and do things. I'm very passionate about the fact that if young people say they want to change things, they've got to get in the mix to be part of that change and learn how to change.
Right.
So I stand up for young people's issues. I'll make sure they're listened to, that they're more than just a token young person on a particular committee, that their value is there. But I also believe they're the church of tomorrow as well as the church of today.
Yeah.
And they can challenge us and help us think outside the square. And I just have fun with them.
Yeah.
So I love them.
Yes, well that's a critical part of it, isn't it?
Yep.
You're talking about change, which is clearly something that you've got within your focus. Religion tends to be, in many ways, unchanging.
Yep.
Much to its own cost, I suggest sometimes. What changes have you seen, or would you desire to take place in the process of being a minister of religion in your own faith?
Oh, I think the biggest challenge we have, and that links with the change for me anyway, is where are we going to be in the future, and what are we going to look like in the future? I had the joy of talking with a school principal a couple of weeks ago and saying, we're thinking about a faith community on campus here. What could that look like in the future? And that means the change is going to have to happen. We've got to, I think the biggest thing for the church is to really recognise and understand that God's working out there. God's not necessarily working inside the church buildings that we have. And our challenge is to get out there where God's working and jump in alongside and get our hands and our feet dirty. So, and for some people that's going to take a lot of change because we get very used to sitting inside our congregations and nurturing. And there are some congregations that are very inward looking, but there are also some that are extremely outward looking and are not scared to step out their door. And that's great. We just got to have a few more of them, I think.
I think that point, scare, fear, is one of the things that stands in everybody's way, really. But from the point of view of bringing, and you're passionate clearly about getting out there, getting your feet dirty, your hands dirty, and putting the message out there. So what's your favourite way of doing that? Where's the favourite where the nut cracks open for you and you say, I'm putting it out there?
When I sit down and have a cup of coffee with someone.
Okay. Right.
One of the things I introduce myself at the university during orientation week, when I get the opportunity to go in front of each of the faculties, I say, I'm great for coffee conversations. Yeah. And it's that relaxed atmosphere where you can really start to get some deep stuff.
Yes.
You know, you have your surface conversation and that's okay. And as that goes on, you have those deep occurrences where I say over and over again, what a privilege it is to be in ministry and to share people's journeys and hear their stories. They're the times that crack things open. Or if I've done a particular worship or I've created a space where people connect and you can see that connection.
Yeah.
They're the places that sends shivers up and down my spine because I know God's there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, so it's like stitching God together through various people.
Yeah, yes. I got the joy to supervise a nursing master's student through one of her psychological units, which I said I'm not qualified, but I said remember God is always in those conversations with you. And she was from PNG. And her whole idea of doing nursing was very different to our secular idea of nursing.
Oh, really?
And to have God in that conversation with her and a patient meant a lot to her. And that's what I see. God is in every conversation that I have.
Yes, yes, and sowing the seeds, and that's a wonderful gift and a wonderful desire to do amongst youth. And we're actually running out of time, but we're covering a wonderful subject, wonderful topic.
Yep.
Would you be available to come next week?
Can do, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
You've been watching Harmony and Diversity, and next week we'll be speaking again with Reverend Jay Robinson, and we'll be talking basically about chaplaincy and youth. Bye for now.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu Alleluia. Om Mani Padme Om.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking again with Reverend Jay Robinson. And she's a minister of the Uniting Church, and she works with young people and is a chaplain at Monash University. And you'll be familiar with the fact that our second interview is to illuminate what the spiritual perspective, what changes does that bring into the world through Jay. Now, I've got one of those information pages in front of me that you print off the internet.
Yep.
And it's looking at your experience. It says something about you being a volunteer coordinator for the World Vision Australia.
Yep.
What's that mean?
Well, I started as part-time, went full-time after our baby was born, Stephanie. And basically, I had the great fun of interviewing, training, working with a whole lot of people who were very keen about making a difference in the world.
Right.
Particularly through an organisation like World Vision. So I learnt a lot of the background stuff with World Vision. But I think my main gift, I suppose, for them was I had ability to remember the names and the faces and their gifts and skills.
Okay.
So if things came up, I could connect them to the right sort of opportunities to be used or connect them together. And I've had a few people who have said the stuff that you helped us do has given me a job down the track or has helped me. And we'd train people to go in, speak at schools around the 40-hour famine and things like that. So the shopping centre things we do. So it was really, really cool. Very much like ministry, really.
Okay.
And I have to say, when I was going through my process to become a minister, one of the things my husband said is, what's the difference between what you're doing now and being a minister?
Right.
Which was a great question because I couldn't answer it.
That is a good question.
Yeah. But it is that style of thing, and that challenge of being a deacon or a minister of the word. And in the Uniting Church, they are the same. Our focus is different.
Okay.
So for a minister of the word, your main focus is around a congregation and caring for them. A deacon is someone who looks out into the community and works in the community a little bit more. So the World Vision stuff was very deacon-like. And I'd have to say my perfect position to have walked out of theological college would have been half-time in a school as a chaplain, half-time in a congregation. Because I actually think you need that support of the people around you to be able to go out and do things. So even though I've come out as a minister of the word, I've still got a lot of deacon in me, I think.
Yes, that passion that you have for going out and the passion that you have for change and for linking people together as well. So that's a very nice combination that you come up with there.
So I did a lot of it in World Vision, yes.
Now, the training for a deacon and a minister of the word, pretty much the same.
Very much the same, yeah.
What are the limitations?
Minister of the Word has to do a language, so we either had to do ancient or biblical Greek, not ancient Greek, biblical Greek or Hebrew.
Right.
I chose biblical Greek, and I'm amazed that I passed that, but I did. And a deacon doesn't need to do the language, but they do a unit in diaconal studies.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you used biblical Greek at all?
No, though I must say my colleague was standing up in church on Pentecost Sunday reading from his biblical Greek Bible, and I said, good on you, you can do that, I'll just sit. It does help with some of the words. Sometimes you hear some of those words, and my daughter's done some ancient Egyptian, so every now and again they connect in ways.
Yes. It gives you a bit of an idea of the longevity of the whole thing. Now, the Tertiary Campus Ministry Association, TMCA, what's that? You're president of it.
I am president of it. I fell into that one. When I began as a university chaplain, one of the things I was aware, or I appeared to be, is that there wasn't a lot of collegial support in doing what you're doing. When I went on campus, I'm at the Peninsula campus for Monash, they had not had a chaplain on campus before. So I had to start everything from scratch. I eventually heard about the TCMA, Tertiary Campus Ministry Association, and that is the only professional body within Australia for tertiary campus ministries or university chaplains or higher education chaplains. I went along to a conference, and as I have said to you earlier, I'm always one to put my hand up and say I'll get involved, and I got onto the committee, the executive, because I believe in this stuff, and if I can make better connections with other people too, that helps me, and I learn from them, and I always pinch as many ideas as I possibly can.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. And it just so happened the second year I was there, they had a challenge with personalities. As human beings, we always have challenges with personalities.
Yes.
And they asked me if I would stand in the role of president, to which I said yes, I would. And so I've been in president now for 4 years. Yes, coming up to the end of my 4th year.
Yes.
And we're growing again.
Right.
The numbers have gone down, and I'm hopefully that relational idea and openness and not trying to be too precious about an organisation is working.
And it includes, well, that's good, because it's a critical thing to happen.
Yeah.
And does that include all chaplains?
All chaplains
whatever
of all faiths.
Yes.
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 And that is a challenge, because we have the predominant number of chaplains are Christian.
Yes.
But it's so important to have the Muslims and the Baha'is and the Buddhists and all of them there to hear all of those experiences, because that's the students we talk to.
Yes.
You know, we're not in Christian universities.
No.
And lots of young people at that age are asking questions and trying to find some faith connection.
So they could be popping up and all over the place, the same person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So coordination's critical.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a matter of being in the right place at the right time, and we're out of time at the moment. We'll be back in a moment.
It's Barbie season, so it's time for a barbecue safety check. Clean away any grease buildup. Swap systems assure that the bottle inspection is in date. The bottle should be upright and not hanging by the hose. And make sure your regulator and hose is undamaged, unblocked and unkinked. Check connections using soapy water. When done, turn off clockwise at the bottle first. A quick Barbie and gas safety check always means a safe and enjoyable summer.
It's always been my dream to represent Australia in the Olympics. Epilepsy affects nearly 250,000 Australians. Like me, most people have their seizures controlled with medication. Even today, people with epilepsy face incredible discrimination, but this prejudice is just another obstacle we can overcome. We're just as capable as anyone else, and often we have to be stronger. I promise I'll do my best for Australia. Will you do your best for me?
Show Me the Way creates the first social networking sites for Australia's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. With secure online mentoring, Show Me the Way supports students to complete their schooling and continue to TAFE, university or vocational education. Show Me the Way connects students with e-mentors from corporate Australia. With secure online mentoring, Show Me the Way supports students to complete Year 12. To donate, visit showmetheway.org.au.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Reverend Jay Robinson. She's a minister of the Uniting Church, and for this segment it's important. She's a chaplain at Monash University. Jay, on this list we've got here is that you're also a youth minister and chaplain at the Uniting Church in Frankston.
Yep.
How does that all fit together? The youth part of it, why is that separated off youth minister? What's it?
The main thing, I suppose, I was called to this position as my first position out of college. It's also the first position like it that the Uniting Church has had in Victoria.
Really?
So brand spanking new in all areas. The congregation wanted someone who would particularly focus on their young people. Someone that was able to do some creative worship and get involved in that side, but particularly to sit alongside young people, help them explore faith, and all of those sorts of things, baptisms, confirmations, whatever. And also then reach out into the community to the young people out there. And having Monash University Peninsula campus just 5 minutes from the church meant the two worked very well together. I know a lot of people said, oh, 2 half-time jobs, it's going to be more than a full-time. And surprisingly, I've managed it really well, which I feel very chuffed about. That's good.
Very relieved.
Yes. But they do link in, very much so. We've got a batch of our kids at the church who are now at university age, and there are 2 or 3 who go to Peninsula campus. I've been able to welcome some other students who are at Monash and have come from interstate, from Uniting Churches, and they've connected into our church family and community. That's taken 6 years to happen, but it's happening. And so it's just being aware of those, where young people are at, and making sure that people hear them, that there's advocacy, and they're learning, they're being fed, and I think that's the most important thing.
And as you related to before, is that they are more than just a token. They are actually present and regarded as being present.
Very much so.
Part of what you do, I think, is also a blog, The Skinny. And it just they're a very nice looking blog and well put together. And in this particular one, which is not that long ago, on the 9th of April, you actually quote Romans 8:6-11, which I shan't go through. However, you put a reflection in there, and the reflection is, how might you give expression to a, quote, spiritual life, close quote, in the context where you live? Now, that was directed towards youth, I suspect. And how would you like them to answer a question like that? What was the response?
I haven't had a direct response. I would have loved a direct response, but I do get that question from young people. How do I be a Christian at school? How do I be a Christian? I've had a conversation at the university about how do I be a Christian in a school as a teacher, where, particularly a state school, where you can't say anything about your faith. So we talk a lot about what you are doing rather than the words you say. I've also had groups, or there are 2 Christian groups on campus, and one of them has come to me and said, how do we save the campus? You're going to save the campus. How do we talk to Australians about being Christian? And I said, don't talk to us about being Christian. Show us how to be Christian. Make sure that there's something in there that we see that we want to ask you about, and then go. So it's that action, that doing things. I'm part of a program called Kids Hope, which was through World Vision, where it links a congregation with a primary school. And then a mentor out of that congregation comes and sees one child of that primary school, 1 hour per week. And that child is chosen for a number of different reasons. But of course, being a state school, we don't talk Christianity, but we've given that child attention and love and connection by showing them Christ's love and not talking about it.
Right.
And I think that's the big thing. It's the showing. It's how it affects what we do, what we say, but it's our morals behind, for want of a better word,
Yes.
behind what we do.
Absolutely. I'm searching through my greying cobweb memory to find and I think it was St. Francis who said that you should preach often but use words only when necessary.
I think you're right, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, which is what you're putting into practice there. Yes.
Yep.
Have you had any feedback in relation to, or what's the outcome been of this youth movement? Are you getting more leaders? Are there people coming together?
It depends. Within the Uniting Church, I think we struggle with our young people, very much so. And some states are doing it better. And here in Victoria, we've got some really good pockets of things happening. I think our biggest problem is numbers.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of them on the ground that have time to put into changing the church.
Yeah.
But the ones that are there, I can have conversations with, and we sit and we talk, and it's really good to see that passion.
Yes.
And that's what they run with. So it gets there.
Yeah, I guess it does. And you're in a very good position to sort of encourage them to listen to that voice, to listen to that nudging.
Yes, very much so.
Go this way, do this.
Yep.
So in answer to the question, well, how do I behave? How do I save the campus? To come back and say, well, you behave. How you behave is how you save. Now, there's a good line. How you behave is how you save.
I like that one, yeah.
It's poetic, so you can have that.
Thank you.
For free. No, I think we'll take a break and we'll come back to more about chaplaincy because it's quite fascinating.
Cool.
We'll be back in a moment.
Every time you shop, the choices you make affect our community. It is important to select Australian products made by Aussie-owned companies. Our food security means quality and peace of mind. Your purchasing power keeps your dollars multiplying in our economy, keeping jobs, profits and decisions being made right here, which is better for your children.
So the next time you buy, look for the AusBuy logo. It makes all the difference.
Sport is for everyone.
No matter who you are or where you're from.
There's no place for discrimination in sport.
And everyone should feel welcome, safe,
respected and get a fair go.
Whether you're a player, a spectator, a coach or an official.
What do you want from your sport?
Are you ready to make a difference? Sport is for everyone.
And everyone starts with you.
Keep your sport inclusive,
safe, fair and fun.
For more information, go to playbytherules.net.au.
Man to man, it's time to stop. Stop the tragic waste of life and the destruction of families, including your own.
Stop blaming drugs and alcohol and believing that walking away makes you weak.
Stop thinking you're a hero and wasting your life behind bars, wishing you could take that one moment back.
Stop the coward's punch.
Sports of Distant Delight is a mixed selection of transportation pictures from here and there and almost everywhere, but not quite. Some quirky, some mundane, some from the past, perhaps reflecting a transit system that has vanished into history, and some from thriving transport entities that continue to endure despite the constant pressures from the all-pervasive motor car. Enjoy.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Reverend J. Robinson, Uniting Church minister, and what we're going to discuss now is about chaplaincy at Monash University. Jay, that's a very sensitive and important role, and as you discussed before, your position in the TMCA, you're right across bringing those sorts of things together. There's some fairly contentious issues spinning around the community, like, for example, abortion, homosexuality, and a million others.
Yep.
But those first two would be the sorts of things I'd expect university students might sort of encounter.
Yep.
Do you come across that, where they'll come to you with that?
I do. I've got a couple of stories. Perhaps one I'd like to start with first is I had a student come to me one day, caught me in the corridor and said, I want to ask you a couple of questions. It'll only take 15, 20 minutes. To which my usual response is, well, I guarantee no answers at all. But he came to me saying that he'd just been told by a Christian group connected with the university that because he was wondering about his sexuality, that he was going to be damned forever.
Goodness gracious.
And I said to this poor guy who walked in with a load on his shoulders, I said, that's not the God I know. And we talked about sin and all sorts of things. Fantastic discussion, the sorts of ones you go home and think, oh, finally, I'm talking this stuff with uni students.
Yes.
But he walked out of my office 10 feet taller. And to be able to do that is amazing.
Yes.
But unis are struggling at the moment with those sorts of things because we all know of budget cuts and things like that, and unfortunately student services are one of the first things that get cut.
Yes.
And it's not that easy to find the right people to talk through some of those issues.
No.
And to be a chaplain on a campus, you've got to be ready to talk through that. And you've got to sit firm in your own faith and understanding, but you've still got to respect and honour the person in front of you. We're not there to judge.
No.
Absolutely not there to judge. And it's a really important thing in chaplaincy, I believe.
The extension of compassion.
Absolutely. We have to be multi-faith. I know there are some chaplains who will only deal with their particular faith denomination, but I believe we have to be multi-faith. And with that goes the respect and the listening and the understanding, and not being scared to say, hey, I'm a Christian, I don't understand what you mean there, or that's not my knowledge or experience. So then you need to have your networks to be able to talk to the local Jewish person or Hindu or whoever it may be.
Right.
But it's being open and compassionate.
And so is that a frequent experience of having someone sitting in front of you and saying, well, I think I'm a Hindu, but maybe I'm not, or I think I'm a Buddhist, or whatever? We
don't get a lot of it. It's probably a lot more Christian baggage, if I can say that. I have had a student that came to me about trouble they were having in a teaching round, and as some conversations happen, you talk fluff for quite a lot, and 5 minutes before you're due to finish, the deep stuff gets in. And it came out that this student was worried about the way they respected or did not respect their parents.
Okay.
Down from the 10 Commandments, you must honour your mother and father.
Right.
And this was a situation, I won't go into details, where that student felt they couldn't honour their parents. And was that student then a bad person?
Right.
So you come across, it's more cultural understandings, the stuff that is underpinning your faith journeys, probably.
But this clearly has a job to do in more than just faith. This is actually talking about place in life in a way. It's critical building blocks. That's very, very important and troubling to realise that it may be cut back.
Yes.
Yeah, we won't go there. I've got in front of me here too chaplaincy on a peninsula campus, and it says our campus chaplains provide, and it lists about 8 points there. And the first is a community focus for developing the spiritual life of students and staff on campus. How does the and staff come in?
The biggest thing is presence and knowing that you were there. I remember having a lady one of the staff members come to see me, and she had some questions around where she She was going, and she said, "Looking for a woman of God." And I all of a sudden realised we have one on campus.
That's good.
And that's wonderful.
That's right.
So that's great. You do it without noticing.
Yeah.
One of the things I do on campus is we run a breakfast once a week during semester, where this semester we've been feeding 260 odd students and staff a week.
Right.
I was outside around the barbecue where we cook our pancakes, and one of the staff members brought up a new staff member, introduced me and said, "This is our chaplain." And that meant heaps. It's not the chaplain, this is our chaplain.
Yes, yes,
I've done some marriage stuff. I've actually blessed a marriage.
Right.
And helped somebody work through some of the understandings of what was going on as that marriage. You know how sometimes when you get ready for getting married, things go downhill and on a rocky road? So we walked through some of that.
As fear sets in.
Exactly, yes. I've done memorial services. We had a student that was killed overseas, one of the residential students, and the people at residential came to me and said, "Can you put something together?"
Right.
They're the things you treasure because you know that you're needed.
Yeah.
And they know that you're there. Very first year, and this is what I think established me on campus, we had a student suicide.
Yes.
In the first year I was there, between the semesters, and they needed to tell the student body when they came back to the first lecture of the second semester, and I was there as someone, I just said, "Here I am."
That was clearly your time. And we're out of it. But what I'd like to thank you so much for coming in. But
Pleasure.
also, perhaps we could carry on at some later stage.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because there's a lot more we can talk about.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you for watching. You've been watching Harmony and Diversity. And we'll be back next week. Bye for now.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu
RSPCA, for all creatures, great and small.
This bank is helping to save lives. Every year, 500,000 Victorians have no idea where their next meal is coming from. Food Bank Victoria works with farmers, supermarkets and manufacturers to make sure their surplus stock ends up here, to be distributed to those in need. But all of this is not enough. Right now, this bank needs interest, your interest, to support Victorians in need. If you can help, visit foodbankvictoria.org.au.
For interesting and informative interviews, join us for NAT Chat Monday nights at 8. Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV.
The following program carries an MA classification and may contain adult themes and coarse language. MELfeed Video advises that it is suitable for viewers aged 15 plus.
one hot off the press, and it's this is Paul Buckley. Welcome, Paul Buckley. And I would just like to warn you that it will not warn you, goodness no, just explain to you that it is a similar. It's a variation on the theme of the last one. So there are a couple of themes there, you know, but that's okay. Those make people famous and stuff like that. You know, the themes that run throughout. Yes, but there's a Kathy Heathcliff and all that stuff in this one too. Anyway, and I have to read it off the thing. Yeah, get in the groove. So I took him to dinner and I introduced him to my mum and dad, and he didn't really say please or thank you, and it was pretty clear that he was very bad for me and not really a good match. So we snatched moments where we could in dark shadows in the neighbourhood. We met under street lamps in the cold night and got a bite to eat in the side streets, in alleyways, scrounging for fish bones like mangy cats, and we were always hungry, we were never fat, and I kind of like being lean like that because, you know, it's the artist who sings for their supper. The artist who sings. Oh. So I took him to dinner and I knew the truth, that I was Kathy and he was Heathcliff, and he was so uncouth. But God knows I always wanted to ride that wild stallion, and I always wanted to tame the stable boy. I always wanted to be that plush aristocrat with her favourite toy, but I can't do that. I mean, it's not really on the cards for me because I become attached, you see. No, I don't become attached, Scrub that, I don't become attached. I live in the thunderstorm. I'm adrift on the wind. I'm not anchored to anything, baby. No future, no past. I'm aware that nothing lasts. I live in the thunderstorm. Yeah, I live in the thunderstorm. Yeah, in the thunderstorm. Yeah. Whoosh. Well, okay, so maybe I really do want to have children one day, and I'd kind of like to grow the seed and water the flower. I mean, I'd like to exist for more than just an hour. I'd kind of like to exist for maybe a day, maybe even more than a day. I'd like to believe in your word. I'd like to believe in what people say. I really want to believe in what people say. I'd like it to have longevity. I really want to believe in longevity. Yeah, actually, longevity. See, I thought I could exist in the thunderstorm. I thought that bodies that are warm stay warm. I thought we could exist in the thunderstorm. Oh, I really did. And I thought that you and I could drink the rain. God, it's wet and cold out there, and there is so much pain, and you cannot prepare for the rips and tides, and you cannot be the thunder's bride. But we tried to be in the thunderstorm, baby. We tried, and we were so fecund. And you thought I said fecund, and I said, no, baby, it's fecund. And I knew there was nothing I could do. I knew there was nothing I could do, but we were in the thunderstorm, baby. We were in the thunderstorm. But society had other plans for me. Because you're Heathcliff and I'm Kathy, and I was supposed to marry Edgar, you see. I mean, I had to take somebody to tea. And it wasn't going to be you, baby. I mean, it really wasn't going to be you, baby. You know, because at the dinner table, the stable boy doesn't really go down very well, but God, he goes down so well. I mean, he really goes down so well. He goes down so well. And Mum said, who's that under the table? Mum said, who's that under the table? And I said, Mum, there's no one under the table, Mum. What are you talking about, Mum? There's no one under the table, Mum. There's no one under the... And I had to conceal. I mean, I had to hide, and I had to lie, and there's so much pride in this world. There's so much pride. What's a girl to do? I mean, there's no room for those kinds of things in your diary. You just can't put those kinds of things in your diary. You can't schedule the thunderstorm. You can't schedule the thunderstorm. He ain't got no diary. He ain't got no plans. He's a man of the moment. He's an unscheduled man. Yes, he's an unscheduled man. And he took me by the hand. He's an unplanning man. And he took me by the hand. And I thought, I don't need no plans. But then I came back to land on the earth, and I said, baby, I really need a diary because I'm rocking up late to work. I mean, I really need a diary or the boss will fire me. I can't live like this. I can't give like this to a moment that just flits by, and I try to exist in the thunderstorm. I really try to find my place. I try to exist in the thunderstorm, but warm bodies, you know, they don't stay warm forever. I mean, they get really cool, and I start to feel like a fool because he's rocking up at 10:30, 11:30, 4 a.m, and I'm left alone, fretting in the dark again. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because when I went to dinner, I couldn't take him with me, and when we went to the supermarket, he didn't even have enough change to buy milk, and I hate my tea. I mean, I really can't stand my tea. I mean, I hate my fucking tea black.
This is called stupid mistakes. It is now becoming evident that you stopped loving me a long time ago. And as much as it hurts, I don't blame you, because I am now beginning to understand why. I think of every laugh we shared, every sweet embrace, every coffee kiss shared, the way you used to smile at me, the way you used to hold my hand, the gleam in your eyes as you looked at me. And I think now how that is all gone, and it kills me. I wish I could take back every stupid thing I did, every time I made you angry, every time I hurt you, because I would have rather killed myself than intentionally hurt you the way I did. There's a saying, you don't know what you have till it's gone. I knew what I had. I knew you were something special, but I took you for granted. Too caught up in the selfish thought that I could never lose you. Friends would smile at us, say we looked perfect together, that they could picture us getting married. I had that image too. Meanwhile, you were breaking inside. I never wanted to lose you. I still love you so much, and my future is so uncertain now without you. But I know I will never get you back. I know you deserve better and can do better. I could have been that better man, and now I have only myself to blame.
At first bird song. You leave me curled in a sip of chamomile, your words having slid into long, silent gaps. Palms twist against eyes which are not now quite mine, and I'd take needle and thread to your heart if I could.
Behind every great athlete, there is a great support network. Australian Athletes with a Disability and Wheelchair Sports Australia help athletes realise their full potential.
Gonna go from 3, yes!
No matter their ability, we're there to support them. Sporting opportunities for all abilities. For more information, visit sports.org.au.
My name is Logan. I'm 12 years old and I have Duchenne muscular dystrophy. My muscles are degenerating and I was put into a wheelchair 2 years ago. Soon I won't be able to move at all. The majority of people affected will not live past their 20s, including me. So we need your support to improve our quality of life until a cure is found.
So, you think you're ready for this?
To take on the world? Why not?
We want to show you what's dangerous about this river, but we can't. That's the problem. You can't see ice-cold water, snags like tree branches or strong currents. So when enjoying our rivers, remember, wear a life jacket, avoid alcohol around water, never swim alone, and learn how to save a life. Our rivers are beautiful, but more Australians drown here than anywhere else. It's simple. Respect the river. Head to royallifesaving.com.au/respect the river for more information.
While I'm in the mood, I'll do an old favourite that's quite dynamic. It's called The Virgin and the Whore. Yeah. Yeah. I am jealous of your drum because you bang it like a girl. Yeah, you. Mm-hmm. I am jealous of your mum because you say she's your whole world. Yeah. I am jealous of your surfboard. I am jealous of your mates. I am jealous when you go to the bathroom to masturbate. I am jealous of your sister because she's such a fucking hottie. I am jealous of your guitar because of its curvaceous body. I am jealous of your wife because I am just the mistress. And although I get a new dress, I am living in distress because you only touch me in the dark. You never take me to functions and you take her to everything. She goes to all your luncheons and your dinners and your meetings and you show her off with pride. I will never be the mother. I will never be the bride. I will never wear white and walk down the aisle. I will never have a mortgage. I will never have a child. I will never have the kids and I will never have the car. All I get is lousy lingerie, a stupid satin bra. Well, I is jealous of your mistress, because I is just the wife. I may have some kind of power, but I haven't got a life, because I'm cooking, cleaning, ironing, washing, hanging out the socks. He works late, I masturbate all day and dream of other cocks. They call me Mum. The Hoover hums, sucking up crumbs from off the floor. The shopping sags in Hessian bags. I'm wearing rags unlike the whore. It gets the dress and not the stress and not the lines upon her face. Whoever wins, I guess it's him, but he ain't even in the race because he's getting his cake and eating it too, relaxing in the sun. Well, we fight each other like cats and dogs, but he's the low-down good-for-nothing one. Yeah.
This is a love poem. It's called Homophobia. Sweat-drenched faggot. Grind on beer slipped, floor peels back as peel tables turned. Needles wrenched on vinyl, pants, round ankles. Bubblegum Converse with lace tied tight, upwards into dark crevices, where every wicked beat is a double entendre, and little boys are thrust into manhood. Strobe light proctology. He backs into him another anally retentive prospect, tight with numbers but loose around the edges, his foreskin forewarned and forearmed, his forearms flexed and called into action, pulling softly, threading light through the Japanese eye of a needle. I'll take those poofters eating their raisins any day. They're dried, dehydrated grapes, devoid of moisture like saline filtered, old, mulled wine. Scrotum. Scrotum. They meet at toilet tuck shop, a slap of the hand and low five at the cubicle, anonymous transaction with their backdoor dealings. Give me a reason to love you. Give me a reason to be, a woman. I just want to be a woman. Oh, glory hole, glory box, glory, glory, Man United. Oh, Bex. Oh, Beckham. Oh, yeah.
This is the introduction for a character from a piece that was done by one or two Melbourne poets who are present, who will recognise it. Everybody else, whatever. Everybody is moving in this town. All creatures circling the nighttime glimmerings. There is no real truth. There is only what is seen. Now, after the 7-day war, in the jigsaw of the city beneath our returned neon, We all fall in love, like sailors and soldiers and young girls. All of us, each holding to each breath and moment, again and again and again. On the first return of the neon lights, I watched electric horses buck and thunder along bright tubing, stampeding alive with electric love, riding out into the darkness like the last thin bars of hope. Stirred from sleep by the dark breeze of you, I looked out a 3 a.m. window into a city of light. I turned to find you. I moved from shadow to shadow until I was breathless and running down back alley streets searching for you. It is months since I last saw you, since you grinned at me and walked out the door, messaged me from the bottom of the stairs, "Home soon, love." And I'm still falling in love with you, and the phone lines are long since gone. I keep expecting to see you, leaning against a wall, slinging your guitar, so that when the men start drumming on buckets and pans and bins, your little melody can stroll out and invite the women and children to dance with the rough neon love of the night. But you are not here. There is only shadow. There is no more spark. There is only night. Thank you.
20 years ago my daughter was conceived, and this is the poem. Cruel wit, it's called Island of Love. Cruel winter in the cafe of lonely guys, stubbing his grief in the chipped ashtray, he cried in his vodka, "My heart is a broken lot." Come spring, his marriage was thrown on the barbie. It burnt his shell, his heart so frozen it was raw. He went on a bender, a new man on a yo-yo, and he wondered, whose finger? For Christmas, an angel taught him how to really cook. She landed him reading erotica and Chinese poetry. She said she skipped from the throng in heaven. She could have any one of God's legions, but she be wanted to be earthside with just one man. That was fine by him. The single life was left to slide. Passion left clothes where they fell. Routine went out the window. She shifted his gear stick, racing through Thrillsville. Though the scenario was familiar, there were no new words for it. So why do anything but? In each other's clothes, in each other's beds, in each other's kitchens. It was high summer. It was sweat and breezes. It was better than hot. They drank from each other's lips. They never felt so savoured. He meditated his sudden luck, an angel in his garden. She had a mind and body to dispel grief. He was with poetic tension, consumed with the love she only feels. She did not care for correction. He fretted about his money, about a room of his own. She needed the same, but was she game to guard her angelic inclination? Single was a Met-Rail ticket. He thought he understood love. She touched places he'd never been. She learned in the place above. Matey, she sang, for your love I give my love. I did not give up my wings to let you have some other. Night came on like a condom. The moon a blob of KY jelly. Their bed adrift on a sea of passion. They clung to each other like shipwreck survivors floating on the tide to an island of love.
No one knows what to say.
I try and treat him the same as I always have.
He didn't want to give up. He just couldn't.
Caring for Catherine was tough, but when I look back, it was the best thing we ever did together.
It's hard to know how to talk about dying. These people know. If you need to know how, visit lifeanddeath.org.au and join the conversation.
Had enough of the bad news about carbon dioxide and climate change? Wood is one solution. Trees take CO2 from the air and store it in their wood. They're also renewable, unlike concrete and steel. But the wood you choose should be recycled or from certified plantations or forests. This helps protect areas of high conservation value. So next time you're building or buying something, make it wood and do your world some good.
Every minute.
Every hour.
Every mother and father.
Every sister and brother.
Every son and every daughter.
Everyone you see.
Everyone you cheer.
Everyone you watch. And everyone you hear. Everyone you meet.
Everyone you know.
Everyone you love.
Everyone is affected.
Reach out and get connected.
Tick, 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 fashion.
Tick, 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 fun.
Tick, 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 food.
Tick, 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 festivals.
All make up 15 fabulous minutes.
In a half-hour special.
Presented to you by Jacqueline and Steve.
Every week. Time's up.
I shall abandon the themes of female roles in society, and I shall do a poem about childhood. Childhood. Oh. Round and round the mulberry bush, just getting to the theme. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Spray-flecked summers, dripping cream. Eyes like lanterns, gleeful screams. Sandy feet, ice-cold cans. That smell of sunscreen, glistening tans. In the car, that leathery scent, you know that leathery scent. Fish and chips and 50 cents. Bright blue tongues, pinching arms. Oh, parents fooled by brothers' charms. Yes. Parents fooled by brothers' charms. Setting sun, drive away. Cool winds closing up the day. Mozzies, breezes, backyard games, skates and dolls with funny names. Like Clowny, here he is. Skates and dolls with funny names. Soft green 70s carpet, the sound of plates, clinking cutlery, clink, 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 clink. Staying up late until 9 o'clock with Johnny Young, dancing like I'm 21. Fat cat says it's time for bed. Sated tummy, empty head, empty head. Oh, crisp sheets, that soap scent lingers. Wriggling toes and wriggling fingers burrow down in clean linen. Rest up for a new beginning. Soft pillow, mother's kiss, safe as toast in buttered bliss.
You can't dance here. This is the American South. You can't dance here. You can sell a little moonshine, but you can't dance here. You can discreetly smoke a joint, but you can't dance here. You can run a quiet brothel, but you can't dance here. You can cheat on your taxes, but you can't dance here. You can buy your way into public office, but you can't dance here. You can own 100 guns, but you can't dance here. You can wear a white sheet and even burn a flaming cross, but you can't dance here.
This is called Christmas Rush. Crawling cars in packed parking lots, waiting to browse fluorescent aisles of essential unnecessaries. To be greeted by painted salesgirls fluting Merry Christmases like beeping barcodes over scanners. Bing Crosby crooning nostalgia. To women dipping tired fingers into thinning purses. Amid the echo of heels clicking and the slick roll of stroller wheels over glossy floors. A chorus of, "Come here, don't touch that. How does this look on me?" Twice I greeted women I knew. What a small world, they both said. No, it is a large world. We make it small. There is no silent night or midnight clear in this glazed metropolis. Just the jingle bells of coin change in tills.
I heard this was like the best of 2010. I'm not the best of 2010, but I picked my favourite poem that I wrote from 2010. So it's called Going Postal. Less of them press down, down, down on more of us, turns the world upside down, all of it infected. Is it the fear of a heavier weight? Do we dare crawl from underneath? Prickly pinstripe suits worth more than the soul inside it. Barbs keep anything from lapping at the pus inside. And they ground you down, down, down to squeeze every last part of you worth selling, or until it comes the day when you finally snap. Suit wasn't worth dry cleaning, debris clings to it flying from 29 floors high. Should have bought a new printer, the bulky old one punished for jamming that millionth time follows, turning that boss into a sandwich on the concrete floor. Blackcurrant jam oozes out. He sorts mail, envelopes pass by like matches over flint until he finally ignites, sends the place sky high. Square sheets of snow rain down, each snowflake its own unique message, now lost to the world. A certain sweaty executive working for a certain department store should have learnt the meaning of no. Her stiletto pops perverted eyeballs, he begs for just a lawsuit then, rise on the floor as the Boxing Day sales trample over him. Fast food workers fed up with fried chicken and fucking blisters show their manager what it's like to have 5-day-old oil popping on your skin, or what it's like to be a overpriced or overpaid crispy strip. People like robots make shiny things they can't afford to use in lives they don't have. Fed up, they use the suicide net to turn the cause of their depression blue. The bastard's trying to breathe just like he never let them do. And finally a smile appears, quicker than anything antidepressants could do. Not a speck of dirt on that grinning mining boss until dirty mining workers show him through the deadly mining shaft. Only then was he concerned about safety. He didn't last as long as those he paid 10 times less. The rest watch their backs now. We push up, up, up. There's more of us than there is of them, and suddenly we feel a little lighter now. Thank you.
If you were living on the streets, wouldn't you want more than just your best friend to keep you safe, warm and dry? Donate to Backpack Bed for Homeless and give warm, waterproof protection and dignity tonight. Call 1300 OzHelp.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Go out your summer wardrobe, get ready for a winter wardrobe. Black is the call. We're here at the opening of Melbourne Fashion Week. Bit of a fashionable event. There's lots of people here, lots of stars, lots of models. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Here we go. Oh, look, you got your fashion guide already.
I have got my fashion guide.
What, are you planning to see anything?
I haven't looked at it yet, but I don't think there's any. This is just for tonight. There's no other shows in this.
Now, you're a voice well heard out there.
Doing a show on the ABC on Friday night. It's called The Glass House, 8 o'clock. Check it out.
So on the radio, right?
On the radio.
Do you have to wear anything in particular? You just sort of like shorts and just T-shirt?
No, I always put gel in my hair. I always like to look good because I think it's important for the other people on the show.
Does that come across when you speak? They see how fashionable you are through their ears?
I think if you look good, it helps you feel good, and people out there would subconsciously sense that you're feeling good about yourself, and that would help them
Who are your
while they
favourite
drive
labels?
to work. My favourite labels, I like a guy called Morrissey.
Morrissey, yeah, you can say Morrissey, that's all right. It is allowed, yeah. Some others? Do you know your labels?
Yeah, I love Ben Sherman.
Oh, okay, Ben Sherman, yeah. And let's see, hey. And Roger Davis, there you go.
It is not Roger Davis.
What's Roger?
What does it say? It doesn't say Roger Davis.
What does it say? Actually, Kmart. No? Target? No, nothing. Doesn't actually. It's got to be on the inside. There we go.
Extra fine wool.
Extra fine wool. I love that
Extra
label.
fine.
I love that label. What's with the new look?
What new look?
Oh, you look fantastic. You?
I put on weight.
Why?
You.
Is this for a movie?
Well, actually, I finished doing horseplay last year, and I had this big fat lip. I got head-butted.
Head-butted?
In rehearsal.
Oh.
Accidentally. It was a bit bad, but anyway, life happens like that.
So what have you been up to? I mean, the last time I spoke to you, you were off to America. What happened?
Well, I did Pantone, and then I was going, and then I found out that I had the Face of Foster's gig.
Oh, okay.
And there was a bit of money involved in that, so I stayed.
Oh, the arm twisted.
I know, but, it gives me money now to go over and go to America, so I'm going in June now.
We're going to see you on the catwalk?
No,
Why not?
this year, first time.
But you've always been doing that. You used to do the modelling and everything. Over it. Oh, excuse us. Sorry, we're at the wrong function.
No, actually, I was going to go to this function last year, but I didn't.
Because you used
the
to be a
invitation
model.
was like invitation for one person. I was too scared to come by myself. So this year I knew a few people going, so decided to turn up this time.
And you used to model.
Yeah, I did.
So
and it was
that's
fantastic.
why now that you're over it, you put on the weight and say, "Thank God I don't have to put my fingers down the throat and all that."
Yeah, all that.
You're looking much better. I must
thanks,
say.
do you think? Yeah, I'm wearing.
Everybody who's watching, doesn't she look sensational?
Well, I'm wearing all black.
I was going to say, Jenny Bannister, what's going on?
It's Krista Bendy now today.
Okay. What's with the pram?
What's with the pram? How do you mean?
This is a mighty entrance.
I know, that's his special pram. He lives in the pram.
He lives in the pram. And how did you get it up the steps?
I got some sort of man with an Armani-clad tie to help me.
Oh, okay.
Some special man help.
So what are we seeing with you in the Fashion Week?
Well, I've got colour, movement,
Colour.
sex.
For Melbourne?
Yeah, colour.
Is there such a thing in winter?
Yeah.
What colour?
Cherry, raspberry,
Oh, okay,
pale blue,
nice.
pale green, antique colours.
Lovely.
Vintage.
So you've been happy with the collection you've done this season?
I'm really happy with it. It's selling really well.
Oh, of course. That makes it even better. Yeah.
It's been really good.
Oh, excellent. So we're going to see some of your numbers here today, or?
I don't know if there's none here today. It's been kept under wraps.
Oh. And when are you launching?
Tuesday night's my
Tuesday
show.
night. Oh, we'll have to go there. We'll see you up there and the girls. Lovely.
Some sexy dances.
I hope she don't cry. Or he. That's a boy.
Yeah.
Can never tell. It's multicoloured.
I know.
Pink, blues, yellows. It's all in there. sensational.
Well, thank you. You're very kind.
Now, who are you wearing?
Well,
or is this your
own? A number
own?
of different things. Oh, it's obviously my own. I mean, actually did purchase it.
That's unusual.
It is, isn't it? Although I must confess, this is Jan Logan ring.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful. This is Lisa Barron, Zest. Beautiful, really
now
great.
It's about mixing fashions.
Yeah, and Zest. And Sergio Rossi.
Sergio Rossi shoes. We've got to get down the shoes.
It's all about the boots this year.
And all about the boots.
Oh, yeah. That's
and the belts. It's working.
And belts.
How important is it?
And a little bit of...
Wow.
Back.
Bit of butt. I don't know.
You gotta have it happening, man.
So how often would you change your wardrobe then? Are you a seasonal
very
person?
Frequently, yeah. No,
Yeah?
I'm not a good shopper. It's actually very stressful for me.
Why?
I don't know. Phil, who is our producer, is standing there and he's saying, too right.
Come in, Phil. Come in.
I hate shopping.
Do you have to shop for her?
No, he doesn't.
I may have
I
to
make him get this.
Yeah, but matching. This is a bit matching.
Where his and hers.
But do you have a stylist then?
Me?
No, I don't.
Why not? Why you?
Yeah, but I style you too.
Yeah, well,
isn't that the easiest way? Just get a stylist and they'll do it for you.
And that would be so fantastic because that's what I need. I need someone to go, okay, let's just get everything and put it in front of you and I'll try it on. If it fits, I'll wear it.
How much would you charge to style me?
Money deal going on here.
You cannot afford me.
Oh, can't afford. You got that first.
Now,
do you find when you do go shopping, would you get harassed, or would you people just stand there and go, I know that face, but I don't know?
They are very encouraging in terms of putting clothes on you, but at the same time, I know I look bad in most things anyway.
Oh,
so
no, that can't be true.
I try and do what I can. But I find it nerve-wracking.
Okay, if there's anyone out there, budding stylist,
who wants to help me out,
give you a call. We've got another celebrity. We've got Mark from Princess Highway. How you going?
Hi.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hi.
Where did you get the label from? Were you just driving down the Princess Highway on your way to Geelong, or?
No, it was a complete joke to start with.
Really?
Absolutely.
Do you take fashion as a big joke?
Yeah. Have a look around you. Hello. Joke.
Don't say that. We'll be booted out.
You need to be.
You need to be. Is it a bit of a wank then, is it really?
Not really. No? Hello, you can't be serious about everything.
No, true. What are you serious about?
Food. Wine. And women.
Women? So what are we expecting to see on the catwalk this week?
Absolutely nothing,
just
because
crap.
I'm having a year off this year.
Yes. Why'd you pull out?
I didn't pull out. It was just like this year I decided I've done it for 5 years and I need to have a break this year.
Yeah, but the audience scream for more.
They'll be screaming for even more next year.
That's probably the best bet. Keep them wanting for another year.
I've got all these other little top secret projects on at the moment as well.
Cooking, huh?
Yeah. My own cooking show. So,
do you think, obviously you're going to keep them waiting?
Yeah.
And is it expensive to do shows in Melbourne, to put all that out?
Not really.
No?
No, not really. It's a retail-based show.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got the public coming and seeing.
You don't need supermodels.
Not really.
No.
You can actually just have hangers coming out on a conveyor belt.
That's something different. Oh, might see that next year. are looking good these days. What is your beauty secret?
Oh, gee, I don't know about that. People say I always look younger than I am. I'm 47. They say I look younger. Yes, I am.
Get out of
yes,
here.
I am. But
you're lying.
But I don't know. Just I keep fit. Actually,
fit.
I do a bit of swimming, play a bit of tennis. And I think to perform well in any job, you've got to do physical exercise. I do a bit of that.
Eat well, keep well.
Actually, I've made a
drinking water.
I've made a New Year's resolution this year that all the events and functions I go to, I'm not going to eat sweets.
Really?
And that's made a big difference.
Are you a sweet tooth? I am. I'm a major sweet tooth.
I am, but not this year.
Not this year. Ooh. Now, it's important for, obviously, you do a lot of functions, and you've got to look good. How important is that in fashion-wise for you?
I think you've got to look presentable, and I always try and look reasonable right throughout the year, not just in the fashion festival. But yeah, this is a special time of the year. And it's always great weather this time of year in autumn. And Melbourne is a style capital of Australia, and I think we're seeing the best of it.
So what do you wear at home? Do you ever wear the tracksuit pants and the fluffy zippers?
I don't like tracksuit pants. I wear on a hot day I wear shorts. I wear jeans. I wear t-shirts. So I wear t-shirts.
When are we going to see you in these outfits?
Oh well.
Do you think that's like we've only got to see you in the suit side of things?
Oh well, no,
do you
not
worry
really.
about image?
Well, you've seen me in a different sort of suit when I was swimming down a lawn in a wetsuit. So
oh yeah. Oh, you're a suit man then,
I'm
really.
A suit man,
you're a suit man. How important is Fashion Week for Melbourne?
Oh, Fashion Week is fantastic. It showcases the great talent and abilities we have here. It showcases the great design that we have here. It's a retail festival, so it's ready to wear. It's things you can buy, not only for the industry but for the great body of Victorians. And I think we do extremely well.
How hard is it to keep it down in Melbourne? I mean, Sydney now is becoming... they're sort of saying they're taking over the fashion empire. I mean, Melbourne is more fashionable by far, but the fashion weeks are getting more up in Sydney nowadays.
Well, yes. Look, of course, Sydney's always going to have a big push on fashion, as it should, and I don't think we should be too parochial about that. We should welcome it. We should celebrate it. But Melbourne is always going to be the style capital. It was historically. It still is. And if you want real style, come to Melbourne.
Who's the most fashionable here? Lots of grog, lots of drink, wander through. Now, I've got to know what this dress is.
Bubbles.
Bubbles. It's like the bathroom mat.
Oh.
What's the label?
It's Izzy Miyake.
Oh, okay. I understand it now. Izzy Miyake. Did you buy that here or?
Yes, in Melbourne. Yeah.
So this is a bit of an appropriate place to wear it then, really, isn't it?
I guess so.
You're getting a few looks?
A few touches.
Who's popping the... Look, you can pop... No, now I've done it. They come out. Yes, okay. And you can't tell whether you're cold or not in this dress, can you?
No.
Not at all.
I'm actually quite fresh just now.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks.
Who are you with here?
Who am I with? This is embarrassing, everybody. It doesn't matter. Are you going to see any of the shows?
Yes.
Which ones?
Oh, well, most definitely this lady's show.
This lady's show?
Yes.
I've got a show on Thursday night.
Thursday night, and the label?
Hoss and...
Oh, sorry, I should have known that. Hoss?
And Shem, yeah, we're doing it together, yeah.
Why together? Complement each other, or...?
Well, it's cheaper.
I was going to say a second option.
Yeah, so it was cheap at first, and he's a friend of mine, and we've built each other's businesses up.
Now, how's Hoss going?
Yeah, good, really good.
Cool little shop, actually.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I love the shop. It's a groovy little shop.
Thanks, yeah.
When are you going to have more of them?
Well, one's a lot of time, so we'll see, yeah.
I think you should divide that time into two.
Yeah, well,
why not?
I might take you up on that
Well,
one.
good luck with how it goes on Thursday night. Revolver. Oh, we like that. Grungy and got that mood.
No,
I think we'll go to that. Why not? I steal you for a moment? Yes. I've got to steal you.
I've been outed. They're telling stories.
You've been outed?
Well, not outed.
Out of the group. You were outed long ago on the TV show. What's going on?
I don't know.
You got a little secret to tell, haven't you?
Oh, no. I think I've told them all on national television.
Oh, really? So, obviously fashionable then. You're more fashionable than ever. What's your labels?
Well, I'm Calibre.
Yeah, Calibre man.
Fan,
yeah.
Absolutely. Roy and what else have I got? Probably AG, some stuff.
Can you wear that on the show? Any of that?
I can wear Roy.
Can you have an input what you wear?
Yeah, totally. But I can't wear this on the show. It's not really appropriate.
It's not you. No.
But other than that, like just Diesel and Bonds and all that.
How do you find your character to you? How different are the two?
Oh, hugely different. I'm nowhere near as insecure as he can be. And
really?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Right.
Yeah. Can you change him? Can you change your character? Do you have input, or you just told?
Absolutely. It's really good. It's a really good process there. They're really open to ideas, and sort of they have a big story arc for the whole series. And they sort of show it to you.
That's not going to suit me.
And you and you pick the things you want to change, and then over the next 6 weeks,
are you picking the guys that you have fun with, or not?
No, I don't quite get that input.
Here at Government House, there's more Steves you can stick at.
Yep.
How important is the Fashion Week to Melbourne, or even to you?
It's important to me because I'm a fashion magnet.
Are you?
Yeah. And but I think it is important because
what do you attract?
I'm like you know how certain dogs, other dogs follow them around.
Oh, so you get a bum
I
sniffers.
got a whole lot of dogs following me around.
I'm glad I'm not downwind.
Yeah, that's right. No, I think it's really important because it's a sort of it's a week around which you can start to stick all of the things that are important for retail, for design.
So you buy fashion much? Do you get in there and really get a new season going, or you just kind of like let the wife do it?
Actually, get the zoom out and we'll answer the question. Sadly, no, I am not a fashion guru, but I do admire people who are.
Would you have any label that you like?
Fletcher Jones does it for me, but no, they're working.
They're working.
Kmart, but they're only for the underwear. But that's a secret. That's a bit of a.
Target's pretty good. I say Target.
That's a tip.
Yeah.
But since I'm thinking about making the comeback to the catwalk,
you?
Christie and some of the others,
the debut.
That's actually. I may have to get back into it a little.
Have you practiced your walk? Are you going to do the Fletcher Jones stand or
the sort of the thing?
Yeah.
I practice at home a fair bit for hours on end.
Yeah. How's it going?
Well, the kids are pretty impressed. I love this. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is world class.
That's how I am. My camera people, I can't see behind it, but they just like.
She's actually chatting up a waiter with her head turned completely the other way.
It actually makes my job hard when I'm editing because she veers off sometimes and I have to push you over this way.
World class.
Yeah,
that is fantastic.
Well,
that's a great thing. You get double the money. She's actually going to get something out of tonight, and you are too.
Hopefully. Well, thanks so much. You're going to go to any shows?
I was thinking of Singing in the Rain.
Singing?
You're talking. No,
No, you can go anywhere you like, really.
Yeah. Well, I'll go and look at the fashionettes singing in the rain because I think that might work.
Raincoats are in, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
It's a bit of a suave event. I'm here with Gwendolyn. Now, you've got a bit of a fashion do coming on. What are we expecting for winter?
Tomorrow evening, which is Monday, we're having a fabulous event at St Michael's Church where I'll be showing my winter collection, which is an array of influences from several different periods, Georgian, Elizabethan, Victorian, and it's all being presented with a creative that embraces theatre, dance, live music. It's going to be quite an event.
So what inspires you when you're designing an outfit?
I'm inspired by history. I'm also inspired by my personal intuition and what I like to wear.
So how do you combine, say, something that's history, but you've got to obviously adapt to a modern day, which is like, you know, what's going on in the market today? How do you do the blend?
I just, I'm a fashion victim myself, and I just kind of, I don't know what you call a victim, but I just let it happen naturally. I think I just become this blender.
Do you run out of ideas, or do you work best under pressure?
I never run out of ideas. It's really frustrating. I never have enough time.
Can't do them all.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You wish there were more than 4 seasons in a year or something?
No, I don't wish that. I just wish that...
It's a lot of pressure.
I don't know. It's a lot of pressure, yeah, but I love it. I love clothes.
And how many outfits do you have to do for, say, a show, for instance?
Well, tomorrow evening I'm showing 24 outfits, plus there'll be a few more too, with all the creative, like the singer and the dancer. So there's actually 27 outfits tomorrow night.
So a bit of work in there?
Yeah, but that's what I do.
That's your
I
job.
love it. Yeah.
I love fashion, she says. I'm a fashion victim. Well, good luck with the show.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll check it out.
Pants are nice.
Don't look at the
pants.
shoes. I wrote.
Look, fashion can mean anything.
Absolutely.
It's all about
Fashionable
being unique
shoes.
and wearing black, really, isn't it?
Good luck with what you're doing. I want to see you
Thank
out
you.
there more.
Yeah, it's been good.
You've never returned my calls.
Oh, is that
What's going
you
on?
stalking
Yes.
me? You don't leave your name. I don't know. It just comes up.
Can't you tell by the heavy breathing?
Yeah, well, I'll remember next time.
100% this.
100%. Romani.
Romani. We found the label. We got there in the end.
Italian, doesn't it?
It's something Italian. Well, enjoy the week.
I will.
And good luck on the catwalk.
You'll be kissing myself. Get active, get social, get on a roll. For more info, visit skateaustralia.org.au.
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to order some pathology tests to see how everything's going.
Half the Australian population had a pathology test last year. That's you or someone you love. 100 tests are performed every minute, delivering vital medical information. From the moment you are born, your healthcare depends on pathology tests. 70% of medical decisions rely on information from pathology tests. Pathology is the engine room of healthcare. One small sample can reveal millions of insights all about you. Pathologists are your doctor's doctor. 25,000 people work to provide doctors with the answers they need to treat you. Australian pathology is world class. We may never meet you, but we see each of you as part of our family. Every minute, 23 Australians find out more about their health.
Good news, Sarah. The results show that everything's okay.
Pathology provides peace of mind.
I rely on Australian pathology.
Sign up online to support Australian pathology.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV. Do you currently have a community service announcement on free-to-air television? If you do, you can now submit it to us as well via our website at MELfeed.video. We have lots of time to fill on these broadcasts, and we are sure to give your announcement a great run on MELfeed.video.
They say there's a chance I could die in a car crash. Maybe even from heart disease. Maybe even skin cancer.
I could die in a work-related accident, or I could die in a fight.
The fact is, the biggest cause of death for men in my age group is suicide.
Please don't let this happen to me.
You can do something. Lifeline believes that suicide is mostly preventable. Help us save lives. Find out what you can do at lifeline.org.au.
MELfeed.video is about to close operations for tonight, but we'll be back with you next Monday evening. In the meantime, here is a selection of programs that will be seen on our next scheduled web stream. You're welcome to visit our website at MELfeed.video for further details of this project. Until next time, from all of us here at MELfeed.video, we wish you a very good night.